Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. Just acknowledge it, knowledge with no scholarships. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. Breaking everything down, tech to politics. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. We don't tell you what you want, we just give you what you need. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. News, blues, and views from these Chi-Town streets. Topic Thunder.
You heard the man. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Topic Thunder. Welcome in. It's Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is the only standard time. I don't know.
Yeah, fuck the rest of them.
Miss me with that Greenwich Standard Time stuff.
Yeah, I've lived my entire life in the Central Time Zone, and I refuse to acknowledge that any other time zone exists.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a weird thing. And if we weren't so obsessed with counting the moments of our lives and just enjoying them, maybe we wouldn't have them. Woo! No, it's Topic Thunder, ladies. It's not some weird nitro you never saw. My name is Brooks. That's Ben. We fashion ourselves as infotenders, and you have walked and or stumbled into the Internet Saloon. That is the world's most dangerous chat zone, the Thunderdome. We've got some VIPs with VIPPs in there, and welcome. The point of the show, folks, is to just simply have a pleasant, informed, maybe sometimes heated conversation about stuff.
Speaking of that, Brooks,
yes.
I was driving home from work today, and I was thinking, it's Wednesday. It's where I'm about to go have a great conversation and rant with my good friend Mike Brooks.
Oh.
And I was thinking to myself, is it just me, or it feels like not a whole... I was wondering what we were going to talk about, because it doesn't feel like any sort of big breaking news happened in the last 7 days since we last sat across from each other via the internets and chatted. Milton was not what we all thought it might be when we left the air.
Still dangerous and
still not great, but it also was not as awful as it was. It was maybe projected to be.
Right.
And
well,
that,
they dialed down on the hurricane control unit.
Joe Biden just...
He was like, oh, yeah, oh, no, we won't.
Oh, they're on to us. They're on to us.
Right. Like, it's just like, back off. Category 3.
Yeah, we can't... Okay, we still have to have a hurricane. It just can't be that bad. So.
Right. Because... you're right. It was a bit of a struggle. Not that there hasn't been. Giovanni.
Considering that we're just a few weeks away from the
actually
the important election of our lives.
I mean, or the second most important election of our lives. It's back-to-back presidential elections that have been like one way or the other, right? Categorically epic in terms of policy and direction of the country. And Ben, you're right. Like, this week has been not short on news,
but nothing explosive,
nothing short, but short on, like you said, explosive or new stories. There's going
we're going to catch up on a lot of stuff.
I was about to say, like, full warning. We're just going to kind of review what has transpired in the week, but there's nothing that has been like, hey, except me stepping back in time for one of my favorite independent brews. I was drinking this when they didn't even have kegs in it. They didn't even decide to put it in cans.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
Doo-wop bop.
I didn't realize that sharing. I thought that's the first time I ever tried that, to share the screen while the music was playing. And turns out you cannot do those two things at the same time.
Okay, so hey, life is an
Fuck that up.
Hey, life is literally
Moving on.
Don't worry, moving up. Welcome to Lagunitas, a little something something, and it's one of the first big production IPAs that I've ever had or can remember ever having, and this is a staple of your IPA library. So if you don't know, it's as they describe, smooth sipping with a silky demeanor. It has the mouth feels.
Mouth feels.
Look at that! Look at that! Look at that! Look at that head form, Ben.
The head
forming right there. Yeah, I said that.
I could tell just by the pouring of that beer that I would hate it.
Oh yes, it's hazy, has a hazy complexion like that.
Yeah,
I
know what it tastes like without even tasting it. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna have the world famous this taste, but I know that I'm not gonna like it. Well, you and I have very, very different palates.
Very different. However, while we have different palates in that regard, Ben, I'm going to tell you that this past weekend, Gigi and I hosted Supreme.
I saw that. I was
and
jealous.
Wife of Supreme.
Yes.
The parents of Chompy Mage. And we went to Hugo's Frog Bar here in the fine city of Chicago.
Okay.
And there was a debate. It was a quick debate on should we get the 64-ounce tomahawk Wagyu steak.
Oh, what is the contender? How is anything else in the debate? But let's see what is the other side of this contender?
Ben, that was the debate. And that was the end of the debate.
Well, okay, just whether or not we should get this.
Again, not to dive into like private health information, but Supreme was celebrating the removal of his braces, and that's a big deal because, like, if you've ever had braces, eating certain foods sucks.
I'm with Stoney McGee here. The answer is yes. I know the ladies may have chimed in and said, "Do we really need that much meat?" But yes, the answer is yes.
Yes. I don't mean to Steve Dahl you all and like sit there and like give you some dead air. I did. I highly doubt Steve Dahl was thinking and pondering the way I was.
Right.
While you are 100% correct. Like there is a debate, but there was a debate because you don't want to. It was expensive. The steak itself
that was not cheap. Yeah,
it was price on the menu was $160. So okay, and Wife of Supreme is a trained culinary chef,
right?
Went to culinary school, right?
Yep.
And is now working for one of the biggest food supply chains to restaurants, hotels. Across the globe.
Stoney McGee's going to DoorDash a steak now.
And she confirmed it was the highest grade Wagyu steak in America.
Wow.
That's it. That was it. Once she said, like, yeah, this is that, we were like, all right, fine. Like,
yeah, I gotta taste that now. Yeah.
Ordered with so we got the appetizers, right? Oysters Rockefeller. We got the crab cakes, right?
Never had oysters before.
Real what?
Never.
Wow.
Yeah. Not that I'm opposed to them. I've just never had the opportunity to have them.
Okay. So there's like oysters in the half shell, and they could be cooked a billion different ways. Oysters Rockefeller has like a cheese butter sauce on top. We could look up I don't want to throw anybody off, but like Oysters Rockefeller is different. They're just saying, like, give me your oysters.
Got it. Classied up a bit.
It's spectacular is what they were. Kudos to Hugo's Frog Bar. We then took Supreme and wife of Supreme to a speakeasy named Sparrow.
Nice.
And it was cool because we could walk there. It was 2 blocks from the restaurant. Thanks, downtown Chicago.
Right.
Yeah. Had one drink because legit that one drink was quite enough. And then whisked them via an Uber to Winter's Jazz Club and caught the 9:30 set of a wonderful rendition of a mix of Etta James and Nina Simone jazz tunes.
Interesting.
Cool. Welcome to a Saturday night of adulthood. It's what that was. Hey, I don't know how we got here. I know how we got here. And it's not easy. It's ugly. And it's not gonna go away. So let's talk about it and inform ourselves the way we usually do. Is trying to explain both sides. We're both side isms kind of guy, but not in a bad way.
Right. This is one of those. This is like one of the very few subjects where you can both sides it and be legitimate in that argument of both sides are bad. Right. So
we have long talked about a year now. We've in the past week we celebrated. It's probably the most terrible term you could do. We acknowledged the 1 year anniversary of Hezbollah striking Israel and sparking this conflict that has now engulfed not one but 2 different countries, possibly a third if you want to throw in the significant connections to Iran in the Middle East. It was Hamas and Hezbollah, right? Okay. Gigi's correcting me. It's true, but I'm also right. And look, and I remind her every day of this, Gigi, if you keep up with this in 3 weeks,
right?
It's all over. Knock it off. We'll get to that later. But UN peacekeepers in Lebanon, which Israel has been liberally striking.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Without the thought of ramifications, and it's mind-boggling to me that they are able to strike the territory of another sovereign nation without the retaliation of said sovereign nation.
All because they're under this under the shield of October 7th.
And well, if you really dive into it, then you start to see that Hezbollah has actually taken over quite a bit of the parliamentary faction of Lebanon. So they do occupy a section of that government, and it's parliamentary. It's not. It's more akin to the way Great Britain's parliament runs,
without
as opposed
the Whigs.
to our Senate, without the Whigs or the powders, Ben. They have successfully, over the last couple of decades, occupied now a part of that parliamentary process and are a part of the legitimate government of Lebanon, which is the only sliver of an excuse Israel could possibly present in a adjudicated case, neutrally adjudicated case. To strike these targets, Hamas, Hezbollah targets, inside another sovereign country. Yeah. But there, as you would imagine, as you could possibly, rightfully imagine, there is a red line. And if another country continues to attack yours, there are going to be ramifications. And here we have today from NBC News, UN peacekeepers in Lebanon pledge not to give in to Israel's demands to get out of harm's way. So Israel is telling, hey, we're going to bomb here, there, and there. I guess sometimes when they're not blowing up pagers and surprising adjacent countries with excursions into their country.
Right.
The United Nations said it wouldn't bow to pressure to withdraw its peacekeepers in southern Lebanon, despite its forces coming under fire, and repeated demands from Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that they move out of the area. The United Nations, an interim force in Lebanon, known as UNIFIL.
UNIFIL. I don't know. That's exactly how they say it, but that's what it looks like.
You should, first of all, don't ever attach yourself to a Phil.
True.
It will go good for Phil. It won't go good for you.
It's definitely one way. Yes.
Yes. Known as UNIFIL, will stay in, quote, all its positions, including those near the border where Israel is fighting Iran-backed Hezbollah. The head of the peacekeeping operations, Jean-Pierre Lacroix, told reporters in New York on Monday. You're right there on the front lines, pal. You know exactly what's going on there in New York. He added that the decision to keep them in place had the full backing of both the UN Security Council, which, by the way, is chaired currently by Russia.
Oh, interesting.
Very. And member states contributing troops to the force, which Israel says has failed in its mission to stabilize the area as Hezbollah's presence has grown. Adversaries for decades, the sides have been clashing over since the Iranian-backed group started firing rockets over a year ago in That is such a whitewashing of what happened. We'll continue.
All right.
But started firing rockets over a year ago in solidarity with Hamas after the Palestinian group's October 7th attack on Israel, killing 1,200 people, taking 250 people hostage, and more than 42,000 people have been killed in Gaza. At least confirmed. That number seems a little light.
But also is wildly out of proportion. Like, the eye for an eye thing is taken to such an extreme in this situation when you just look at those numbers right there.
I'm all for a government force going and finding the people who did it, exterminating the people who did it, the people connected to who did it, at the people who then supported the people that did it,
sure.
And then the network of money and supplies to the people who were responsible that did it also being eliminated. I am not smart enough to tell you how to do something like that and minimize civilian casualties. What I will tell you, having played Axis and Allies way back in the day, right, all the way through modern video games and strategy games today, is that when you rack up civilian casualties, it's one, hard to win the game because it affects your overall score. Mm-hmm. And two, if your game trends in this direction, it's really hard to convince or gain the trust of your allies in your particular cause. And that's where we kind of find ourselves with this particular situation. I am
crossroads.
I am all about the rabid pursuit of those who are responsible for this situation. I will also acknowledge that there are also some people who are come get me, kind of butchers on the other side of the equation and guilty of similar crimes themselves.
Yeah.
The idea here is what we as Americans are responsible for.
And what are we willing to tolerate? How much are we willing to tolerate?
And I don't want, we're not going to bring up Ukraine, but I'm going to bring up Ukraine because for everything that we're doing for Israel, and that includes helping them legit multiple countries, including the United States, firing anti-aircraft missiles to defend Israel, we are allowing Ukraine to now fight not on one axis, not on two axes, but now we just found out that North Korea is supplying troops on a third axis. We do have to kind of look at the balance of these things and who's pushing where on the map and why we are particularly obsessed with providing overwhelming support in spite of some moments to one country, while we look at another and we go, hey, look, we're going to get you enough just to kind of get by in the face of overwhelming odds.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just... the idea, back to the Israel situation.
Let's go. Did I divert?
No, not really. But I had a thought before you brought up Ukraine, which there are different thoughts there, certainly, and I agree with what you said there. I've always had a hard time with this, and I continue to have a hard time with this idea that Israel's actions are excused in some way because they were attacked, right? And this idea that it's okay. We are signing off and are okaying the killing of civilians because Hamas is using them as shields. Right? I understand what Hamas is doing, and it's horrible, and it's an evil thing that they're doing.
We can all acknowledge,
right?
I know where you're going with this too.
But it is incumbent on Israel to be the adult in the room.
Great.
And say, well, yes, you people are going to get it. We're not just going to indiscriminately bomb an entire strip of land until it's just rubble and not allow aid in and not allow anyone out. And under this show, I'm sorry, Israel should have been the adult in the room, and they have acted like a petulant child, like a scorned child from the beginning of this. And have acted in a way that has not, other than, they were coordinated enough to blow up pagers and walkie-talkies and very targetedly, but they can't kill these guys in Gaza more targetedly.
Well, I will take you one further on that. They have that level of coordination, intelligence, and the apparatus to execute such a, that's a fucking video game plan.
Yeah.
Right. Go, your objective, plant these 7 objects in this particular place that without nobody knowing, you've got to sneak around and do it. But they didn't know that Hamas was going to send paratroopers and rockets.
Yeah,
they literally sent paratroopers.
Well, we also know. There's a layer of that onion that Israel might be excused for not knowing because maybe Hamas was tipped off. Because don't forget that Russian leader met with Trump Trump gave away some military secrets of a foreign entity believed to be Israel. And then a few months later, that same Russian dignitary is meeting with the leader of Hamas. And then a few months after that, the attack on October 7th happens. So there's that thread that you can look at and say, well, there is an excuse maybe.
Ben, do you know whose birthday October 7th is?
I do not.
Take a wild guess.
Vladimir Putin.
It is Vladimir Putin's birthday. Put that into your calculus. So this is something we talked about nary a year ago, probably legitimately 365 days ago.
Almost. Yeah, probably.
When we were discussing this particular instance, this moment in global history. October 7th means nothing on the calendar of the Jewish religion or the Muslim or Christian religion. Mm-hmm. It's just October 7th. Unless you're Vladimir Putin and it's your birthday. And then a adjacent organization, somebody that you may be supporting through a third or second party, launches an attack that, I don't know, achieves your goals globally.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot going on there. We have talked endlessly about how difficult having this conversation is, because it's so nuanced, and there are good guys and bad guys on both sides. And you and I are happy to call those people out for their behaviors on both sides of it. That is part of what we do here as infotenders in the world's most dangerous chat zone, the Internet Saloon called Topic Thunder.
You know what we also do around here, Brooks?
We
help our friends out.
We try so hard.
And you'll see right there, we missed this. But I put it in the chat there as well. And you'll see that QR code on the screen. Help out our buddy. We talked about him last week at the top of the show. You guys know him from the world's most dangerous chat room, Joseph Michael. He needs some help, and we're asking you guys to help out. So scan that QR code, but also you can click the link in the chat and help out our buddy Joe.
Please do. The GoFundMe is important. First of all, it took us over a week and almost just short of 2 weeks to hear from Joe after the effects of Hurricane Helene in the North Carolina, Tennessee region, which he kind of just moved into, unfortunately. So you're not exactly settled yourself. Oh, and here comes this torrential storm that is so powerful that it floods an area that's 2,000 feet above water levels and surface levels. We're happy he's alive, but they need funds. And basically, if you have any extra scratch, please click on that GoFundMe QR and give anything over there to Joe. I know who set this GoFundMe up. It is not something that is a scam. It is not something that will benefit anybody but the person it's supposed to benefit, and they do need it, actually. So it is important, and we do hope you kind of contribute a little bit. We've done this before with the Cajun Navy. We've done this before with the World Central Kitchen. And here it is, somebody who's actually been in the world's most dangerous chat zone before. He's been a colleague. He is a fan of the show. So if you could please help Joey out a little bit.
It won't be the last time we'll put it up on the screen, but
absolutely not.
It's also in the chat, and you can click it anytime.
Thank you, Ben, for reminding me. Because
I was like, oh shit, we totally forgot. We were halfway through that story, and I was like, God damn it!
It's just one of those things.
All right, here we go.
we talked about
one of our favorite people to talk about.
We talk about one of the most dangerous people in the world. We talked about this particular individual for a long time, and especially when he decided to buy Twitter, because the ramifications of that we talked about and are still feeling, because what you basically have had is somebody who grew up and still believes in an apartheid type vehicle of government. That grew up with a silver, dare I say, emerald spoon in their mouth. If you don't know, his family owned emerald mines in South Africa during a time when slave labor was absolutely not only encouraged, but was the basic business model. And somebody who's never really invented or done a goddamn thing in his life, but he don't believe his story. Here's Elon Musk, he who bought into PayPal and got bought out. He who decided to buy Tesla and declare that he reinvented electric cars. And if we did a pivot table over the quality of Teslas since he bought it, not good. He who bought SpaceX and claimed he was the one that was going to send people to Mars.
Such a turd. Look at him.
Even though there was already, and he basically bought a company that had an established and brilliant group of people working for them, and then just decided to say, it was all because of me.
Yes, 100%. Stolen valor, if you will.
Stolen valor, and he of the jumping on the stage in Pennsylvania, like, yay!
He
Look
looks
at
so
me.
dumb, but whatever.
Well, that's what ketamine does to you. When you do a lot of ketamine and you don't have a real grasp on reality, such as maybe the son of billionaires might not have, somebody who's never really had to be in touch with the daily work.
There's something I've never done before, ketamine.
Oh.
Not something that I have ever partaken. Not just because I haven't had the opportunity. Not because I would turn it down if presented with.
So, I know somebody who has. You know him too, Mike Broox.
Mm-hmm, yes.
Mike Broox.
yes. Friend of the show.
Friend of the show, longtime friend.
He's one of our reporters in the background.
He's one of those people that you always want to know but don't want to know about.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So actually, I have and I'm sure he's okay with me telling the story. There was he told me this time that he went to a club called the Exit in downtown Chicago, right?
Uh-huh.
And that he and his friends at the time were dabbling in what they would call ecstasy at the time, which was loosely MDMA, but there was no real proof that whatever they took was MDMA.
Right, you just had to trust your guy. Yeah.
And I feel bad for Mike Broox because I don't think he truly trusted the guy. So Mike Broox went with his friends to I think he told me a couple other club names, but they ended up at Exit. And my hand to the Bible, Mike Broox came to me and told me the story afterwards and said that he was like, man, I just wasn't feeling it. I wasn't fucked up enough. And Mike Broox went on to say that he told a couple of his friends at the club, and through a magical networking at the club at that moment, somebody found a guy who had ketamine.
Okay.
Club,
yes.
Right? And again, Mike Broox telling me the story.
Right. Secondhand. This is all secondhand.
It was you were kind of ushered. He was kind of ushered onto the dance floor, and presented with this little tiny spoon, which the person said, "Quick, sniff this." And Mike Brooks said that the rest of the night was like he spent a night on Saturn, which included
Here,
multiple,
sniff this.
which included a trip to the men's washroom. Apparently, Mike Brooks couldn't hold his stuff, as we like to say.
Yes.
And vacated the whatever was in his stomach, and then ended. Very curious, this Mike Brooks guy is.
Yes.
If you ever get to know him,
he's a wild guy. That guy.
it's a very interesting cat if you get to know him.
Yeah.
The last thing you told me about the story was that finally he and his friends kind of corralled him.
You're right.
And got him in the car, and they were driving home, and he was in the passenger driver's side, and somebody had in the passenger back seat of the vehicle, with the windows down, driving, stuck their foot out the window, and the foot then appeared in the driver's side window. Again, from Mike Brooks's lips to your ears, Mike Brooks swears to this day that he hawked the biggest loogie he ever could and spit it on the shoe and foot of the person who had decided to put their. Listen, we could do an entire podcast of Mike Brooks stories.
We could.
We really could, folks. But ketamine, first of all, is not to be fucked with. Ketamine is basically a large animal tranquilizer.
Oh, shit.
And generally not meant for human consumption.
No, definitely not.
However, like psilocybin,
Uh-huh.
has actually proven to have, in the correct doses,
That's true.
very
Yes.
positive effects on the treatment of depression and other mental health issues. So while we have a good laugh at our friend Mike Brooks and the K-hole
And
that
Elon
he
Musk.
fallen,
Yes.
Elon Musk is well beyond the one-time use of ketamine and falling into the K-hole, and apparently kind of like just hangs out in the K-hole. Which
He
is
looks
not
like a
good.
guy. That looks like a guy that hangs out in a K-hole. Right there.
We have to be very clear about this, to be honest with you, where this is going, who's supporting Donald Trump in this regard, and why they are. We have to honestly look at what's going on globally. And Ben, you and I on this show have talked about the oligarchy that happens to be in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't talk about that lightly, although we make fun of it all the time, as we should. What we need to be very wary of here in America is the broarchy. And what I mean by that is the tech bros that have millions and billions of dollars with that kind of grew up without understanding what a true democracy is, without understanding the value of the lives that have been sacrificed and spent to give us this moment we have right now, all of the things that we're doing right now, the technology that we have right now, the things that the broarchy are like, hey, we did that, are taking responsibility for. It's all built on the shoulders of people who have come before us and people who have sacrificed so much more. Here we are at a situation where we have concrete evidence that millionaires and billionaires are trying to influence and trying to take control of our elections and our country. I'm not trying to go all Rachel Maddow on you, but it's true. There is evidence Elon Musk is giving $75 million in a disclosed Tuesday filing to the FEC.
Right, that's just what he's willing to disclose.
The dude bought Twitter for $44 billion and has no problem whatsoever tanking his investment to a quarter of what he bought it for. I dare anyone out there listening to tell me that if you bought something for $44 and you saw it dropping down to $3, that you would not have gone, I'm going to get rid of this thing.
Right. Anywhere along the way, you're what they call holding the bag.
He just so happened to have bought the world's basic town hall.
Yeah, and then made it so shitty that no one wants to be there anymore.
Except right-wing extremists. And folks, I've been on Twitter since 2009, not to brag. But I've been there since almost the beginning. And at one point, Twitter was the place to go to verify information. A blue check actually meant something back in the day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was an easy way.
Be bought and paid for.
I knew about what was going on during the Fukushima meltdown at those power plants, the nuclear power plants in Fukushima, Japan, in real time. And I was DJing at the time, and I was in radiology school going, oh, shit. But that was the real-time effect. That is when I knew the power of Twitter and the ability to get verified information just by looking for it and scanning for it. So now here we have, Elon Musk, no doubt, trying to influence this particular election for a lot of reasons. He's apparently becoming the shadow president with his oligarchy. I can't stress enough.
He's gonna be if Trump wins, he's gonna have a cabinet position,
cabinet level position, to be able to then disable and dismantle other government agencies. Again,
what could go wrong?
Let's look at the track record here. Please tell me something that Elon Musk got involved with that has ever been a success. Because of him. I'm not saying something he acquired prior to, like Tesla, like SpaceX. But I'll ask you, what happened to that Boring Company, where he was going to develop a brand new way to develop and build out a new transit high-speed train system underground? That was the one company that I think he actually started from the ground. And while brilliantly named, the Boring Company. None of those contracts have come to fruition. He's not met deadlines for those things, and has basically fallen by the wayside.
Yeah, well, and even the companies that have been quote unquote successful would not be nearly as successful if they weren't being propped up by government contracts and government subsidies.
Well, he's the biggest, one of the biggest government.
I think he's the biggest.
I think
contractor,
so,
the biggest contractor.
Which means government subsidies. Which, if you have a problem with welfare,
you should definitely have a problem with that.
You should definitely have a problem with Elon Musk, because it all begins and ends right there. Kind of, sort of adjacent. Ben, we have a problem getting support to people who need it when they need it.
Surprise.
No surprise. One of those problems happens to be militias
The total
preventing
information that's proliferated about FEMA. Yeah.
militias preventing the supplies and relief getting to the people who need it.
What is this? Look at that.
Because they believe that FEMA is evil and it's a government conspiracy.
Oh my God.
Folks, when I tell you we are in a moment of media illiteracy.
Oh, dude, the lack of critical thinking in this country is going to, I fear, may lead us down a path that we can't recover from. Like,
It's tough
on
to
the
think
chance,
we
like
can.
Trump, if Trump wins,
We're done. First of all, let's be very clear. There is a very long record of you and I putting our opinions out there on social media, whether on this show or otherwise on other social media platforms. We are going to be targeted because of our views, because of what we said. I'll be very honest with you, Ben. I think we're in danger if Kamala Harris and Democrats lose this election. I honestly think you and I are in danger because of our beliefs and the way we broadcasted them.
you're not wrong, and I've also thought, like, I don't know that I want to sit here and do this through 4 years of like literally like hopping on the internet every Wednesday and talking about the demise of the country that we live in for over 4 years, and just be angry at all the decisions that are made, and calling out the horrible decisions and the horrible outcomes.
Well, you won't be able to because you'll be in a cell on some kind of camp somewhere.
I almost hope they do us the favor, because, like, dude, I'm telling you, we may broadcast election night. I don't know. Maybe we do something like that. And it may very well be, depending on what we find out. We probably won't know anything by the end of election. Let's be honest. But we might.
And we still won't really be assured of anything until the certification in January.
True, but there's a chance that it looks pretty good that Trump is going to win. And that might be the night that I say, I'm hanging it up, folks. Like, I don't know that I could handle it anymore. I don't know that I could do anymore. Like, I think it would suck all of the fun out of doing this. Like, yes, I love ranting and raving, but, like, this is different, man. Like you say, like, shit's gonna get, like, fucking real weird and real serious and real fucking fascist real fucking quick. And dude, if they start deporting people and going door to door and knocking on doors and ripping people out of their homes with law enforcement and military, like, that, what the fuck? How do I continue to live here? I gotta get my family the fuck out of here if that's the case. And I'm not even an immigrant, but, like, I can't live in a country that's going to stand by and allow our government and support our government going door to door and ripping people out of homes and forcing them across an imaginary border that we've invented in our minds, that because we have some sort of weird ownership over this piece of land that we decided to settle on.
I don't blame you for that, especially because you have a family. I'll be very blunt and honest. Like, I'm joining the resistance. Like, I'm going to do it, and I'll be that guy. Just because, like, I that's what I'm going to live for. Again, I don't have a family. I've got a wonderful girlfriend. I've got Fiona's an awesome dog.
Right.
But I don't have that particular family tie. I'll be out there. I'll be your John Connor. I'll be your Huckleberry. Nice. But I hope I don't have to.
Yeah, for real, man. But it's close. I feel confident that Kamala Harris is going to win, but, like,
well, you know what? Let's skip. Let's go ahead and just really quick skip ahead, because we're gonna highlight the choice basically, that we have coming up here. What we will tell you is that Canada is set to cover the cost of contraceptive and diabetes drugs.
100%.
What?
What?
How can you do that? That's not.
Oh, the full
wait,
cost.
what? Wait, now who's the? Wait a minute. What's it going to cost me? What? Wait, now they're going to raise taxes. Now hold on. No. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Is that going to help people?
Probably.
Is that going to help people who need the help?
Yes.
Golly, that to me seems like, the point of a civilization? Wait, and we're not done yet. From the AP, Canada's gonna expel India's top diplomat and alleges a wider diplomatic involvement in crimes. A story we covered previously on Topic Thunder, where there has been an alleged and actually then confirmed assassination attempts on Indian expats living in Canada by the Indian intelligence services.
No shit.
Here we have Canada going, hey, that's not cool, guys. Get out.
That's pretty crazy, actually.
That's pretty dope, actually, that a country
so India's government was killing Indian expats in Canada.
Correct.
Holy shit.
Not unlike, I'd say a certain Asian country poisoning the tea of expatriates with a highly radioactive element.
Wow.
The murder of anybody that you don't agree with across state borders, highly frowned upon. Just thinking about, if we lived in a perfect world, maybe send him to jail, maybe, confirm with your allies that this is what you're going to do. This is how you're going to handle the situation. Anyway, we are. Yeah, I know. I was reading
the caption of this next video that we're gonna play, and Jesus, this guy might be president.
We have a choice here in America in the next 3 weeks, and there's a lot, no doubt, revolving around our two basic choices. Don't miss me with the Cornel West, miss me with the Jill Stein stuff. We all know that this situation is boiling down to Donald Trump and Kamala Harris.
Right.
So let's take them as they are, at their word, and let's compare the two here really quick. All of these clips have happened and occurred within the last few days. This is nothing old. This is nothing edited. This is right here, put out there for you, as close to the cuff as you can get. So Donald Trump was here in Chicago today, meeting with the Economic Club of Chicago. You can only imagine.
Oh, I bet that's just a humdinger of a fucking club.
And you can imagine the number of CEOs and suits in attendance.
Oh,
right.
The amount of money in that room was probably insane.
So I'll set this clip up as the moderator will. But the moderator asks Donald Trump, should Google be broken up?
Should Google be broken up?
I just haven't gotten over something the Justice Department did yesterday, where Virginia cleaned up its voter rolls and got rid of thousands and thousands of bad votes and the Justice Department sued them that they should be allowed to put those bad votes and illegal votes back in and let the people vote. So I haven't gotten over that. A lot of people have seen that. They can't even believe it.
The question is about Google, President Trump.
Yeah.
Should Google be...
Wait. Okay. I get that if you feel like you're in a hostile environment, somebody asks you a trap question.
Right.
Right? That you kind of technically you should acknowledge the question briefly and ubiquitously answer the question and then go on to make the point that you wanted to make.
That's just nonsense. And this whole illegal immigrants voting thing, if you haven't seen it yet, John Oliver did a fantastic segment on Sunday on his show on HBO on Max. He explains it way better than I'll ever be able to do it, but there are multiple reasons why undocumented immigrants are not in any way, shape, or form going to be voting in the presidential election coming up in 3 weeks. There is no instance. There are multiple safeguards in place, and this whole ridiculousness of the voter rolls and the games that Republicans are playing with that, and playing with it by infiltrating these voting election government committees,
Voting polls and committees.
Yeah, it's all nonsense. And
just wait until election night. There's going to be violence. It's going to break out because we have situations like this.
But we'll listen to a couple of songs if you want, and that's okay with me. I like it. So we'll do that. We'll do those songs that we had mentioned, Justin. And if Justin doesn't get it right, he gets fired. Full factory. Anyway, go ahead, please.
Yep. Well, sir, do you want to play your song and then greet a few people, or do you want to? Well, you had said you wanted to close with a specific song.
Okay. But we'll listen to a couple of songs.
What is going on there?
Well, let him, the next clip, Ben, let him go ahead and describe what he thinks are Arizonans.
What was that nonsense that he was just spewing about songs? Hold on.
So the clip is from a situation in a rally where he got up on stage, and as opposed to taking questions, he basically spent his time playing the campaign playlist and doing this.
There wasn't like 37 minutes of him just dancing around like weirdly.
Which we don't want to attack.
We're not going to watch.
We're not going to attack a mentally ill person. Is basically what it boils down to.
But didn't like some people like pass out or something? There was like a medical.
There were two medical emergencies at the event. After the second one, Trump announced, "Is anybody else going to pass out?" And they played Ave Maria. During the medical emergencies, which if you know the song, it's a beautiful song.
He's just awkwardly like gyrating around. So okay, what's this? This is he delivers remarks in Georgia. Let's hear what he's got to say here.
Let's hear what he has to say here.
He walked in with a couple of young constituents to show him the Capitol, as I remember it, and they accused him of showing in Russia's. What? And he became, instead of most people, they say, oh, please.
Wait, what?
He became the opposite, indignant and wild, and he has done some job on the committee.
What did you just say?
Is he
What did he try to say there?
Remember it. And they accused him of showing in Russia's what? And he became.
Wait,
Look,
what is he trying to say? Is he trying to say Russian?
Folks, when I slur words here on Topic Thunder,
it's because
you know damn well where that's coming from. We are upfront and honest with you that I've been imbibing alcohol, right? I don't know an excuse for somebody who is trying to say a word like that, allegedly sober. I don't know how anybody can make an excuse for a person who talks like that.
No.
However, by contrast, Ben, this evening, the Democratic representative for POTUS appeared on rival Fox News. And Ben, I got a really early clip of something here.
Okay.
This happened tonight. It was happening actually. The last half of it was happening when we went on air.
Gotcha.
So here is Brett Baer. He's the chief political analyst for Fox News. He basically
so much Botox in that man's face.
Oh my God. It's worse than Cher. No, it's not worse than Cher. Cher's got some pretty bad fillers. Here is Brett Baer having a he's having a conversation with Kamala Harris, and he's dare I say, trying to manufacture a gotcha moment.
If he's as bad as you say, that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States. Why is that happening?
This is an election for president of the United States. It's not supposed to be easy.
I know, but
it's not supposed to be. It is not supposed to be a cakewalk for anyone.
So are they misguided, the 50%?
Listen,
are they stupid? What is it?
I would never say that about the American people. And in fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean and belittle and diminish the American people. He's the one who talks about an enemy within, an enemy within, talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
We asked that question to the former president today. Harris Faulkner had a town hall, and this is how he responded.
I heard about that. They were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest gangster. No, it's true. No, but think of it. It's called weaponization of government. It's a terrible thing.
So,
Brett, I'm sorry, and with all due respect, that clip was not what he has been saying about the enemy within that he has repeated when he's speaking about the American people. That's not what you just showed.
Well, he was asked about that
specific... No, that's not what you just showed. In all fairness and respect to you,
that was the question that we asked him.
You didn't show that, and here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many times, and you and I both know that. And you and I both know that he has talked about turning the American military on the American people. He has talked about going after people who are engaged in peaceful protest. He has talked about locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy. And in a democracy, the President of the United States, in the United States of America, should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it. And this is what is at stake, which is why you have someone like the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying what Mark Milley has said about Donald Trump being a threat to the United States of America.
He's quoted in the Bob Woodward book that way, yes. Let me ask.
Jesus. Yeah, she fucking roasted him. Take your stupid face and get the fuck out of here, Brett Baer.
But give her props for appearing on Fox News.
For sure.
And her answers were nothing short of demonstrative. The way a lot of Trump supporters acknowledge and accept their news and talking points. She was verbally and physically demonstrative. And, oh yeah, by the way, she was absolutely right in everything she said. Okay, so maybe we're going to take a step away from, maybe we're going to not. Ben, I don't know about that Northern Lights one, but here's...
Okay, let him stop.
No, let's do it. Let's do it because shit's weird. I've had a really weird day today, and I'm not one to believe so much in cosmology or the horoscope or any of that shit, but there's a comet crossing the planet right now that won't appear for the next 80,000 years.
Jesus.
So if weird shit's happening to you in your work life, I believe it. We also happen to be in the midst of the apex of solar storms, which our sun, the star in which is the center of our particular solar system, is at its solar storm height, sending
good.
G4 and G5 storms. So Ben, when you hear these stories of like, hey, we're gonna be able to see the northern lights at a distance that like we normally don't do.
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
Cool, get it. It's awesome. But yes, Ben, what you just said, yeah, it's not necessarily a good thing. Because we don't know where those storms are coming. They're important. If you don't know, go back and I encourage you to Google the solar storm and how it affected Montreal. I think it was 1993. Don't quote me on that, but just look that up because it basically knocked out the electricals for an entire city and melted the grid.
Jesus.
That's what we really need to be working on and focused on. Now, what's such the idea that like, oh, I don't believe in abortion, so you should not believe in abortion.
Right.
Right? We need to worry about other things, more important things that are bigger
Like
than
comets,
just
sun.
us. Yeah, maybe. The next GIF, and I hope you can all see it at the right time and in the right speed. If not, please check it out. This is
I just did it while I was waiting, and it definitely fucking worked.
It definitely works. This is a phenomenon called motion-induced blindness. You lose sight of stimuli that are in plain view. The dots don't actually vanish.
So the idea is you got to stare at the blue dot in the
center.
middle. So ready? I'm going to hit play. Everyone stare at the blue dot in the center of the screen. That's fucking crazy.
Steve L. silence.
That's weird. It's making my eyes water, actually. That's crazy.
What this highlights is how your brain processes information and how your brain can, if you're focused on something, eliminate the other things in your field of view, especially when you have a consistent pattern revolving around that particular
That's
item.
wild.
Let's take a moment here and give props to our oldest living president, the oldest living ever.
Yeah,
president,
the only president
Jimmy-
that ever hit 100 years old.
a centenarian who just casted his vote for Kamala Harris.
Nice.
That Jimmy Carter, who has been in hospice for almost 2 years, unfortunately had to deal with his wife passing away while he was in hospice. It has vowed to live long enough to cast his vote for the Democratic nominee Kamala Harris. And Jimmy Carter has done just that. And looking back, he seems like he was the nerd who was kind of forced out of politics in that particular position because he was just too good of a guy. He was legitimately like, hey, I just want to help people. And they were like, what?
Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
This is
Softy.
what? Yeah, get the fuck out of here, kid. We got a globe to conquer. What are you doing here? We do have a little bit of a palate cleanse, and this was sent in from Tipton, Moscow. Don't ever, for one doubt, ever doubt the power of comic books, comic book movies, and the idea that your child's imagination is not an influence on their life.
On the box, on the packaging, it said that it fits you until you're 7, and I'm 7. So it fits until you're like 9.
You know what you got to do for your first task as Black Panther? You have to go up there.
No, Mommy said it's not safe.
Black Panther doesn't have a mommy. He's a man of his own. He lives alone.
Just because I'm Black Panther,
Panther?
doesn't mean to go up a ladder.
Why not? You're supposed to
Because
save the
Mommy
day.
said it's dangerous.
Save the day. The vigilante is out again on the loose. Are you talking to Tony Stark on there?
I need to go save Troy.
You're gonna save crime. You can't even go up a ladder.
You sure about me? People call me Black Panther.
Ow!
He is brave. He fights in the light. He fights in the night. That person's name is Black Panther.
I want to be that kid's friend.
I would have been that kid if I was born 40 years later. That would have been me. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to the lightning round. Shaka Bra. That's my new thing, Shaka Bra. Hey, if you're new to the show, welcome into the signature segment of this program. It's the lightning round. So here we go. If you're in the world's most dangerous chat zone, we welcome you. Your vote is important. This is the ultimate exercise in democracy. I'm about to read you 3 headlines, and you are about to tell us which ones we should dive into.
Indeed.
It's literally that simple. So, without dilly or dally,
Please, because we cannot dilly or dally tonight because I have to pee so bad.
Oh, Ben, just to let you know, there was one time in a previous podcast that I peed in a water bottle because we went so long and I didn't want to get off the air. Anyway, headline number 1.
Chop.
18 treated for severe nausea in Stuttgart after opera of live sex and piercings. Ooh. Headline number 2. Oregon police find large stash of drugs inside bag labeled definitely not a bag full of drugs. And headline number 3. Taxidermist turns rats into sexy showgirls with nipple covers and eyelashes.
No. Adrian will definitely turn that off. She does not do well with rodents. Taxidermied ones. I can imagine taxidermied ones dressed up to look like dancers, exotic dancers, is definitely not going to be something that she's into.
For the sake of your bladder.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll be shocked by my wife.
And all of those involved. Let's go through these one more time and let's call it a wrap. Folks, headline number 1. 18 treated for severe nausea in Stuttgart after opera of live sex and piercing. Headline number 2. Oregon police find large stash of drugs inside bag labeled definitely not a bag full of drugs. And headline number 3. Taxidermist turns rats into sexy showgirls with nipple covers and fake eyelashes.
The votes are rolling in. Number 2 is running away with it early.
That is not a surprise to this reporter. Right.
5 votes for number 2. Oh, this might be a clean sweep. Is anyone going to step out on a limb and go outside of number 2?
Why would you? Why would you?
Outsider?
Wink, wink. Now,
Stay
Judge.
in line, lemmings.
Why would you?
Who's going to step out of line? Anybody?
Why don't we? Let's just call it, Ben.
Yeah, let's go because I got a piece.
You gotta urinate and micturate and not on the rug because it ties the room together. Headline number 2 wins. Oregon police find large stash of drugs inside bag labeled Definitely not a bag full of drugs. A driver and passenger were arrested after officers found fentanyl and meth hidden inside a misleadingly labeled bag. During a routine stop, Oregon police pulled over a stolen car and found a large stash of fentanyl and methamphetamines inside a bag labeled definitely not a bag full of drugs, according to a report. The incident took place on Tuesday when officers stopped a man and woman driving a stolen vehicle in the southeast area of Portland. The traffic stop led to officers finding the bag with 10 combined grams of the two substances. Mia Rochelle Bergstromas, 37, and Reginald Lamont Reynolds, 35, were the occupants of the vehicle, along with this bag of substances. Officers also found cash, a loaded revolver, and drug scales. Look, folks, I have a good authority from Tipton, Moscow, that if you there's no such thing as drug scales. There's just a scale.
It's just a scale.
They
don't something that doesn't say drug scale on the label.
Right. Yeah. That could be measuring turmeric. Both Reynolds and Bruggenostros were apprehended and taken into custody. Reynolds faces several charges, including delivery and possession of methamphetamine. Bruggenostros was arrested on similar charges, but may not be prosecuted, according to court documents obtained by the
Ryan
outlet.
Hansen's right. They should have had another bag that was labeled definitely drugs.
Definitely not drugs. And
no,
definitely drugs. Yeah. 2 bags. Try to confuse them because your first attempt didn't work. Just pointing out that the female Baganastras was arrested on similar charges, but may not be prosecuted, according to court documents. Why? Because you're a rat. Our rat. And that was it.
We normally play the closing time song, and it's 1 minute and 3 seconds.
And he's got to go.
But I don't have time for that. So from the USS Rapapapa, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Wednesday, 7 p.m.